Jacob is about to meet his nemesis, his brother Esau, who's approaching with a formidable army of 400 men. It is prior to the battle that Jacob settles his whole family across the stream, and then he remains alone. And a man begins to battle with him and wrestles with him the whole night, and Jacob prevails. Just before dawn, the adversary says to him, "Please let me go, I wish to escape." And Jacob says, "No, I will not let you go until you give me a blessing." And this adversary who had wrestled with him the entire night says that your name, Jacob, will be supplanted by a name, Yisrael. From now on, you will be known as Israel. So what's very difficult to understand about this whole encounter is that the verse tells us that Jacob remained alone and the man wrestled with him. Who was there to wrestle with him if the verse tells us that he was alone? And so the commentaries explain that the wrestling that took place the entire night was not with a man. There was no man. It was an inner battle, an inner conflict, where Jacob had to come to terms with himself. He had to have an inner resolution that took place before the battle with Esau began. And it was only by virtue of Jacob being able to work through all his inhibitions, all of his self-doubt, when he works through the entirety of the night, the darkness of his life, and he comes to the realization that he is not limited as a Jacob, which implies the heel hold of Esau, a person overwhelmed by the force of Esau. But on the contrary, he has the power of Yisrael, of Israel, which implies greatness and strength. It is only when he comes to realize who he himself is and is now a confident Yisrael that he's able to go out and encounter his brother Esau with an army that was coming towards him. Every single one of us has challenges. And prior to our confronting our challenges, we have an inner conflict that we need to resolve. Who are we? What are my strengths? How do I overcome my lack of confidence? How do I believe in myself that I can win? And this inner conflict is something that we need to work through before we are able to overcome the challenges of life. But when we do, when we look at ourselves and learn about ourselves and discover the strengths that we have, we transform ourselves from a Jacob who is concerned, who is worried, who is overwhelmed by the forces around, and we become a Yisrael. We rise with blessing that we are in fact a strong and formidable individual who has the capacity to take on the challenges of life. May Hashem give us the strength in the battle that takes place before the battle, the most important battle, the inner battle, the one in which we begin to evaluate our strengths and come to terms with our powers. May we win that battle, because when we do, and when we are confident in ourselves, we can take on the world and all its challenges. We have the capacity to emerge from the challenge and the darkness of a night so filled with inner conflict, with newfound blessing, with newfound strength. We are, after all, Yisrael, a powerful individual who belongs to a powerful people. May Hashem give us the ability to win the battles internally so that we can win the battles that lie beyond. Have a beautiful Shabbos.